Flow is a complicated cascade of neurochemicals. You have norepinephrine, you have dopamine, serotonin, anandamide, and endorphins. The first stage of the flow cycle is known as struggle. It feels really unpleasant most of the time.
The moment it becomes a little bit too difficult, we step away. And that's just the moment that I like to step into it.
It came in my climbing and my skiing when I was being pushed to kind of my physical and mental limit.
Struggle gives way to release. We let everything go.
That's the best part, is kind of letting go and seeing where it takes you.
And that triggers the actual flow state itself, which is the third stage of the cycle.
Your conscious mind goes out the window, subconscious kicks in, and it's uplifting.
I don't think there's any other form of consciousness I can tap into to be able to take myself from here to here.
So if you want to understand flow science, the first thing you need to know is that the brain is a giant energy hog. So the brain is always looking for ways to conserve. So what happens in flow, as our attention goes up, the brain is performing an efficiency exchange, so it starts shutting off other parts of the prefrontal cortex. We feel this as liberation, as freedom.
I found myself tumbling down a 2,000-foot face, and my senses were so reduced. I couldn't hear anything. It was totally peaceful. I was totally calm.
Time dilation is caused because time is calculated all over the prefrontal cortex, and as parts of it start to wink out, everything condenses into what psychologists call the elongated now.
Details now that are in my head from those couple seconds, 4 seconds from dying, I did something I still can't do if I train for it.
Flow is like being swept up by the river of ultimate human performance. We are better, faster, stronger. All aspects are amplified.
People seem to love stuff like bungee jumping and skydiving, but what draws us to these scary, life-threatening experiences? A study from the Queensland University of Technology in Australia, researchers explored the psychological result of fear responses in extreme sports participants. Fear is an important inborn response to perceived danger. Your body's top priority is to preserve itself. It's a way to motivate it to do so. But for some people, like extreme sports enthusiasts, overcoming fear is a meaningful and constructive event in their lives. They, of course, still experience fear, but it's not seen as a negative, but rather a positive experience. Jumping out of an airplane or free climbing up a cliff, an almond-shaped set of neurons in our brain called the amygdala releases hormones which quicken the heart, hone the senses, and prepare your body to flee or fight. It's a fear response. During this fear response, our brain's reward center releases huge amounts of dopamine. Studies have shown dopamine, a powerful reward chemical for our bodies, is also connected to the recollection of terror. It's released when we eat, exercise, or talk to our friends and family. It's reinforcing those healthy behaviors by making us feel good about doing those things. But it also helps us remember things we're afraid of. Massive dopamine release is associated with drug use and addiction, which is how extreme athletes and enthusiasts are often associated with junkies or addicts. Extreme athletes provoke this fear response in themselves, experiencing that fear of death and enjoying the natural high they get from the dopamine release that follows. The problem is, the brain can get used to these high levels of dopamine, and thus more extreme events may have to be performed to simply enjoy day-to-day life. This is called sensation-seeking behavior, language created to describe heavy-use drug addicts. A 2004 study compared ecstasy users to bungee jumpers and found similar sensation-seeking brain chemistry. The reason people continue to do these activities, aside from them being fun and making them feel good, is once their brain gets acclimated to these higher levels of dopamine, it is difficult to wean it off. Like an addict, the brain craves more dopamine to feel the same high. In the end, the risk and reward are real, and people can alter their brain chemistry to get this natural high from things like base jumping.